All right, guys, thanks so much for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started. If I randomly pause, bear with me. We probably just have more people jumping in from the waiting room. My name's Taylor with Scott Leroy Marketing. Today, we're going over creating an email signature and social post within Command. And we should have time to show you how to apply the email signature into your KW email address, as well as how to post your social media posts through the campaign section. Feel free as we go to throw any questions you have in the chat. I'm going to do my best to watch those and answer as we go. If we have time at the end of class, I will also revisit any questions I may have missed. Or you can email us. I'm going to throw our support email in the chat for you so that you have it. That way, if I miss your question or you think of one afterwards, we can make sure to get that answered for you. All right, so getting started, first thing we're going to do is log into Command. So go to agent.kw.com. We're going to enter our username and password. Once you get signed in, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit on my end, so hopefully you can see better. Once you get signed in, we're going to navigate to designs. So if you're not familiar yet with each applet and you don't want to hover over each icon, you can click on the KW in the upper left-hand corner, and that will pop out the menu of names. All right, so once you're here in designs, this may look different for you. Any design that you've used before, that you've started editing, or you have finished editing will appear here for you. So if you haven't done anything yet, this may be blank. But we are going to create design. And today we're going to stick to the social category. We do have other classes throughout the month where we go over more of these. So either come to one of those if you want more in-depth training on those sections, or you can catch our latest recording on our YouTube channel. So you just click on social and continue. And that's going to drop us into the templates within the WeBrand editor. The first thing that we're actually going to do is go to assets. So up here in the top menu, you go to assets. These are going to be your frequently used sections where when you're creating designs, once we select a template within the WeBrand editor, that way you don't have to upload images every single time of like your headshot or your logo, the office logo. You can have pre-made text boxes with your information in it that has your contact information, those kinds of things. That way they can easily be swapped out while you're editing rather than having to type it out every single time. All right. So real quick, so far all we've done is log into Command. We're letting quite a few people in from the waiting room, so I just want to cover this one more time. Logging into Command, we navigated to designs, create design, social, and then assets. So if you have a different color palette or font that you want to upload rather than just using the KW one that comes pre-populated, you can do that here. some fonts, we found that this section can be very finicky, and oftentimes we try to help troubleshoot when the system just won't accept a different font that isn't in the system. So that part can be a little iffy as to if it'll work, but you can always try it if you have a font that you use for marketing. The next three sections are going to be the main three that we see agents use. So images, that's going to be your headshot. So you simply upload image. It gives you the options of where to pull the image from, or if you have it saved on your desktop, you can drag and drop. Creating text boxes. So this is the section where you can add your information. So it comes with labels for each of these text boxes. And if there's not a tag already, or a label, excuse me, then you can select other, and that pops open. You can label it what you need. And then type in the box what you want it to say, save. And now you have that text box saved. Christine, I don't see assets. So if you followed the same path that I did and you're not seeing it, double check that you're logged in. Sometimes it doesn't carry over from command with your login. Otherwise, send us an email to our support team. Let me know if you still need the email. I posted it right before. I'm not sure if you came in after I had posted it in the chat, so that we can help troubleshoot why you don't see it on your end. All right, so once you have your text boxes loaded, we see things here like your name, phone number, email, office address, office name, those kinds of things that are going to be on pretty much every marketing piece that you are creating. And then going to logos. So here's where we recommend uploading all of your office logos. So your DBA specific logo for your office. And if you have a team logo or you've branded your own business with a logo, you can upload that here as well. Elements is more like shapes, icons, those kinds of things that you might use for frequent marketing material. You can upload a video. So if you're using a lot of social marketing pieces and you have a video maybe of yourself, introducing yourself, whatever it may be, you can add that in here so that you have that readily available and you don't have to upload it every time. And then file assets. So these are going to be your PDFs that may need to be attached to marketing pieces. All right, so once these are updated, we'll go back to templates. And you have a whole bunch of categories with subcategories, depending on what you're looking for. You can search for templates. We're going to start with the email signature. So under business basics in the templates, there's email signatures. and that will pull up the templates that are available in Command. So once you know which one you want to use, you just click on the Use option when you're hovering over it. And that's going to actually take you into the editor so that you can start customizing this. So now we just start selecting things that we want to swap. So selecting the headshot, we're already defaulted to images, but this is stock images where we want to use our headshot. So for this, you can either add, so if you haven't updated your assets like we just walked through, you can always add directly here. You can drag and drop, or you can click on this box and select from your computer. I'm going to my assets here under images. So that pulls up all of my assets in my images section. And then if I click use image, that's actually just going to throw it randomly into the template separate. So in this case, I'm actually going to, again, selecting the image and then hit replace. I'm going to show you the rectangle version, even though this one's blurry on my end. But let's say you'll notice this photo is larger, and when we throw it in here, it's cutting off part of my head. So if you do that and reposition, you'll be able to make it fit how you want. And then same thing here, we're just going to go down the template and swap out the default for what we need. So we're looking to replace our DBA logo. So this again changes to logos, and you either have these generic folders that KW offers or my assets. If you haven't updated your assets, again, you can go back to images, hit add, upload it here, and then swap it out. And I'm going to replace. So that swapped it out, but notice that there's a red KW on a red background. Doesn't necessarily stand out or look the best. So what I like to do, because I don't have all of the versions uploaded, is add a shape. And this is just me showing you how to manipulate the template a little more manually. Obviously, if you have the different color variations and background variations that are uploaded already, you'll be able just to choose the one that works the best. So I added a shape and I covered the logo so I know what size I need it to be. And then template colors will default to things that are selected already. Library colors, you have that workspace main palette. And this is where the default KW colors will be for you. And if you wanted to add the palette in different colors that you use, like we did in the asset section, this is where you can find that. So I'm going to change the color of the fill of my shape, and now the outline, because I don't want it to be purple. And I'm going to make that white as well. So now, again, selecting that shape. Over here, underneath kind of the download and done buttons, you have different options here. And I like to send it backwards. So now I have manually manipulated a background for my logo so that the red on red doesn't look funny. So again, when you're selecting something, so like for this text, if I wanted to change the color, you're going to have these color options. For the shape, this is actually the background color. So the fill color currently is the red one. If I wanted to change that, it'll populate up here once I've selected what I'm changing. And I can do that. There's a question in the chat. The Williams is way too light. How do we fix it? Because this is an image, you're not going to be able to manipulate that kind of text information or color and that kind of thing. So for that, we recommend looking at your other office logos. You can find those in my KW. I'll actually show you guys where. So if you go to my KW, and then at the top in the middle is a marketing tab. Logos and branding should be your first option here. And then here, you'll be able to, once you scroll down a little bit, search for your market center, either by name or by number. And then you can download the file. And that's actually going to give you all of the different KW approved logos for your office. So different color schemes where there's a white background or no background, whether there's red in it or just black and white and that kind of stuff. And then there's also the primary, just generic KW logos. So if you're looking for a different variation of KW, you can download these here as well. Although these, I'm fairly certain, are going to be the options that are in the workspace, these folders. So the generic KW logos are here. So these are the workspace folders under logos are actually KW put these together, and they should be available in your system for everyone. Alrighty, so again here, selecting our text box. So you can manipulate the font size, the type. There's this like generic type of box. But if you want to keep the formatting, we're going to come to text. And again, you can add a text box in this way. There's some, not sure, some interesting icons, depending on what you need it for. Again, there's workspace that comes with your legal footer text. Each office is independently owned and operated. That should be in most of the templates that you choose already. But if it's not, you can easily add that by clicking the box, or my assets, because we updated our text assets. So we have our text box picked, replace text, and that adds your information into the box without changing the formatting or the font. Where if I hit add, that creates a whole new box, whole new font, whole different color. So whichever's going to work for you. You can also double click and type, or there's a typewriter function where that pops open a box on the right hand side, so you can edit what you need to, save changes, and then that will throw the updates in here. So whatever is going to be easiest for you. Here we have license number. I do not have a box with my license number programmed, so this is going to be one where I want to type that in. Again, typewriter function. I like this option. I feel like it keeps formatting easier, but it is entirely up to you. Save changes, and then that throws the change into the box. Now for this is the office address. Now you'll notice I have the address in two different boxes. So if I were to come over here and replace the text, it's only going to use one of those boxes. It's not going to throw both in there. Same thing if I replace text here. So this might be one where I want to maybe use one of them and then come in here and type the rest, or again, selecting the text box that we're working with, there is a duplicate option right here next to the little tiny trash can. So if you duplicate it, it's going to basically copy and paste that box. So you have the same font, same size, same color. You don't have to try to find it if you hit add. It just depends. Ooh. And then I am just manipulating that so that it lines up at least as closely as possible. There you go. Same thing here. So you'll notice mobile, office, email, and website is all in one box. So I can't come over here and replace the information and fill in with the same text template. So this is going to be one where you probably want to manually update if you're going to keep the same. And I'm just making sure that these line up. Again, I don't have my app code saved, but that's another thing that we recommend, so that you can just swap that out since it's a random code. And then the other thing that I'm going to do, because I'm on a team, but this doesn't give spots for team information. I'm going to come back to logos, go to my assets because I have this saved. Or again, images, if you're going to add it, you can drag and drop. And then use. And then personally, since my reds don't match, I could put a box around this, but I'm going to change the color. Manipulate that how I want. And then text. And I'm going to come in here and just add and select a text box. Save. And then I'm going to come down here and make it look the way I want. So changing size. I can change font. I'm fine with the color, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to align this differently. Let's go with center. So that's how you can just add what you want rather than working out of my assets if you're creating something. Obviously, email signature, we're working mostly with the stuff that you would save in my assets. So that's why it's real easy to just swap the information out. But I also wanted to show you how you can just add a random text box and then manipulate it to look how you want. So once you're satisfied with your email signature, what we're going to do is we're going to download this. There's a very good question in the chat. Do we need to include our broker's license number as well? I am under the impression for compliance, that depends on which state you're in. So if you want to add it, you can by all means throw that in there. If you have questions, if it's required, we actually recommend checking with your broker in charge at your office just to make sure that everything's compliant. All right, so in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to download, and we're going to download this as either a JPEG or a PNG. This tells us that PNGs are typically higher quality, so I'm going to select that one, but it's entirely up to you. And then we're going to download. And now we have our PNG here. Now this next part is just what we recommend. It's not required, but we actually recommend hosting your image on a image hosting site. So we choose IMGUR. It is just a site that I don't even fully understand, to be completely honest. But we found that hosting your image on a site and then putting it in your email signature will help, so that when you're replying, perhaps from your mobile device, your email signature will also show up. We found that if you go straight from the download here into your email signature in your KW account, then when you reply, even if you're logged into the account on your mobile device, the image might not show up. So this is just our personal recommendation. So we just upload it here and then download post. And now we have our new download. And then we're going to come to our email. And I'm already logged in. So going to your KW email, go to gmail.com, enter your full KW email address and password to log into your account. And then under settings and see all settings, towards the bottom on this first general page, you'll see signature, which is most likely blank as of right now. So we're going to create new, and I'm going to name it. And then we're going to insert image here, upload, and then that IMGUR post, that's the image we're going to use. And then don't forget for signature defaults to change this. So for new emails, you want to always have this turned on. And obviously, if you have different signatures in here, because you can have more than one, you'll just want to set your defaults, which one you want. And now when we compose, our email signature is there. You can adjust the size, although we found it just depends on the recipient as to how that really appears, where this is pretty typical in how it fits. So I don't mess with those, but you're more than welcome to if you want. Penny, yes, depending on how you do it. If you follow the posting on an image site and then uploading it, we found that that's when the mobile device is able to hold that email signature when you create an email. So if you're logged into your KW email on your phone and you go to compose an email, it should still show up in your new email. All right, so now we're done. We're going to go back, and that throws our design into the main designs dashboard here. So if you ever need to come in and edit it, or you want to change it or make a different one, you can do that as well. So now we're going to go over how to create a social post. And we should have time to at least throw that into the social post campaign in design or in command. Words are hard, guys. All right, so create design, and we're going to go back into social. All right, and then since we were just in here, it's going to default to the section we were just in. Typically, it's going to jump to the first section here. So depending on what you're trying to post, you're going to want to look in the different categories here. I'm going to go with lead generation. And under iHeartKW is actually some templates for making a move. So if you're new to KW, you may want to come here to look for a template. And I like looking at the size categories as well. So this kind of tells you what size you're going to use based on where you're trying to post it. So if I have a Facebook cover, that's going to be like one of the banners that's much wider in an image. So if I were to try to post the same image on Instagram where there's a square photo requirement, it's going to cut off each side and it might look funny. So I use that to determine which subcategory I want to look into to use. And so that'll pop up your templates. And there's a lot depending on which category you go to. So once you have one that you want to use, again, just hover over it and then select the Use button. And since this is a square, it does in the label initially say Instagram, just because that's where the requirement fits. But a square is going to fit pretty much on any social media platform, from my understanding. So for this, again, just like our last one, selecting a photo, we're going to come over here, images, my assets, replace. And that is very large, so I don't want that. We're going to change this and we're going to go back. All right, change the size first. And then replace. And then depending on how your photo looks, obviously mine's round, so that's gonna throw a little kink into things, but you can adjust that for how you want it. And then I'm gonna come back here and look at the stock photos because I feel like this is just a lot of white space. So I want to use something different. So either the stock photos, some of them are free. You can change which either location these photos are pulling from, the orientation, or which sections you want to include. So I just select free because I don't want to pay to use any of these images. So I apply, and then that's going to change the filter. And then you can search. Let's go with business. See what that pulls up. They're defaulting to a lot of other people's headshots. So maybe let's go with houses. We're talking about being a realtor. And even though we filtered by free, it's still kind of showing us. Oh, there we go. There are some that sneak in there that say upgrade to use, but for the most part, now that we've filtered, that should, depending on what's available. Okay, so we're also going to go check out workspaces, where again, workspace, KW has put together these folders and the images come with the ability to use them. So I'm getting click happy. Hopefully my system doesn't break on me. And then we're going to just add this image in, whichever one we want to use. And then I'm going to send this backwards so I can put this where I want it. We're just going to pretend like it's pretty because I just want to show you guys how to create it and then add it. And then my assets and making sure to switch my logo. All right. So once you're satisfied with your image that's going to be posted, again, download as a JPEG or a PNG. Oops, I deselected my page. First, I'm going to save it one more time under File, and then download my image. Ooh, after I show you guys how to add it and post it, if we have time, we'll come back and I'll show you how to animate it. So it's actually like a little movie video clip. All right, so once we have our download, we're gonna close out of that. And then we're gonna come to campaigns and social posts. So this is gonna show you any posts that you've made, any scheduled posts coming up. Same thing with down here. So for this, actually, I forgot. You'll want to make sure in your settings first that you have your social media accounts connected already. You have to connect your account to your settings for social posts or paid ads before you'll be able to post anything. But once those are connected, you create campaign, and we're going to do social post. And then these are our available pages that are connected. So if you have a business page for your business, you'll be able to post that here. And then add media. You can either browse designs or browse files. So either the download you just made, or if you wanted to pull it directly from designs, you can do that. It's only going to pull up your social images. So if you created something but used the print section, that's not going to pull up here for you to use. It's only going to pull your social. So once that loads, all right. And then you can adjust if you want. So now we have a preview. And then your post text. So notice your character limit, and then you just start typing. Whatever you want it to say. And then as you type, you have your preview over here of what it will look like. And then technically, we have both of these on the image already. So if you select these boxes, you're going to have duplicates, which is fine. Depending on the placement, if it doesn't bother you, you can totally select that as well. And then you can either schedule the post for a different time and date, or you can publish immediately. Just know that with social posts or paid ads, the system in command has to process your post, and then it has to process on the Facebook or Instagram, whichever platform you're using. It has to publish through there as well, or process, excuse me. So it, as much as it says publish immediately, that just means start the process to publish. It could take 24 to 48 hours to officially post. So we get a lot of questions when agents are running ads like, hey, I set my ad to start immediately, but it still says processing. I only set it to go for 1 day. Is there even going to be an ad? That's situational. We'll have to help troubleshoot like what exactly is happening, but keep that in mind when you're going to post something, that it isn't actually immediate. It has to post or process first. But if we schedule it, let's say you can save as a draft, so maybe you're not quite done editing. You can do that, or you can schedule post, or it'll say post. It'll give you one last preview. Schedule. And now on our calendar, you'll see that we have a social media post scheduled for that time on this date. And you can preview it here as well. There is no undo. So if you delete a post, you'll still be able to access the design that you created, but there, unless you saved it as a draft rather than scheduling it, you can't undo a delete. So if you're sure about it, go ahead and delete it. All right, going back to designs, I'm just going to show you guys because I think it's cool when you're doing a social post, depending on where you're, if you're doing a post or a story. Some people want to have the whole thing animated or just parts of it. So in your design, you'll notice under all of these sections is animation. So animation here is for the entire thing. So everything in the image will do these. And you can change how long it takes. Or you can select certain things. Whatever you want it to do. And that'll just add animation to that one specific thing. Or you can do multiple without doing the whole thing. And then play animation. And when you do that, you'll still be able to select media when you go to create your social post, which is recommended, especially for these, but you can still download it. If you download it, you'll want to download as a video or GIF. There is a question in the chat. Can you post it to all social media? So whatever you have connected for social posts. We do have videos on our YouTube channel about how to connect different social media platforms. So I just have Facebook linked here for both post scheduling, which is what we just did, and Facebook Ads Manager. But you can have post scheduling for Instagram this way, for Twitter, and there's even more too, I believe. But these are like the defaults in the settings. So yes, technically you can post to all of your social media platforms that you want, depending on what it is and how it's connected, or you can download the design you made and upload it that way. All right, guys, I know I breezed through a bunch of that trying to